that you think or you know is dirty, nasty, you don't want anyone to know about, but you do. Write it down. We all got it, and we got a lot of them. And you know what they are, so don't look all blank in the face like, oh, what could it be? Bullshit.
What was the question again?
Have an example. False self.
Have temporary.
A behavior that you engage in, or a thought. It doesn't even have to translate. Excuse me, that's okay. I'm gonna be doing a lot of weird things in 20 weeks. A behavior that you know is not quote unquote good, accepted, you judge, you wouldn't want anyone to know about, but you do it anyway.
Am I going to be repeating this out loud?
It's just an extrovert phrase.
You do not have to say it out loud if you don't want to. But I need you to be honest with yourselves. You will be a shit therapist if you are not honest with yourself. Get over it. We all have shit. And we lick it, and we smell it, and we smear it all over ourselves. We just don't do it in front of other people. And that's your shadow. And unless you get in touch with your shadow, you cannot heal. You will continue to create problems. You will create inauthentic lives. You will put on a mask for anyone and everyone that's around, and you will never know yourself completely. Now, I'm not telling you that you have to tell everyone your shit. You don't have to be like me. Trust me, I wish that I wasn't so open. But I haven't learned yet how to not be. But you have to be honest with you. Because who the hell are you to call out a client on their shit when you can't call yourself out on yours? That's hypocrisy. And I'd walk out of your office. And that's why, other than Maria, I've never found a therapist that is any good. Because it takes somebody who can say, yep, I've got that. That's my shit. If nothing else, what you're doing is you're normalizing behavior and validating a feeling and making someone feel safe. And those are the basic tenets of a therapeutic session. Who has not come up with something that they do that they want no one to know about?
I'm still working on it.
Okay, so I see a lot of trouble.
So,
We should have 10 things, not one. But let's just stick to the one. Yes, what's your question?
not really a question. I guess it's what I feel is my biggest, is I don't know if it goes along with it. So if I find out, like, for whatever reason, you don't like me, or she doesn't like anybody in this classroom doesn't like me, subconsciously, I think I would go out of my way until that is actually different, where, you know what I mean, like I would bring you something like coffee, you know what I mean, just to make sure, like, I'm like, okay, I think she likes me now.
So,
Is that,
which one of your parents was a manipulator? Which one of your parents always wanted to get their way? Which one of your parents was the smooth talker?
probably my dad.
That's learned behavior. What did he get by doing that? This is a perfect illustration because I actually think it's a good bucket item. I don't think it's a bad bucket item for you. You saw that work for him.
Well, that's the thing, I didn't, and then I can see my mom being this way too,
Okay,
Uh,
but wait, let's,
But the
what did you
manipulating part,
like?
they could
Forget the word manipulating, because the manipulation has a negative connotation, and we have to get away from this. We all have a Pluto, we all have a Mercury, we're all manipulators.
Mhm.
Let's get to the crux.
Then I think it would be.
How did it work for either your mother and father when they smooth talked and they bought people gifts? What did it get them?
Well, my dad, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Like, my mom is the one that gave me the example, so I'm assuming it's actually more my mom than my dad.
Okay,
And
so
then
what did she get as a result of this behavior?
That rewarding, I guess, the satisfaction of, like, I guess, a sense of acceptance, or
Can you give me a concrete example where your mother brought someone something and they gave her what she
she
needed
buys her
or
grandkids
wanted?
and everything and anything. She spoils them, and she did the same for me when I was growing up, and that was almost like she bought people's love, if you will.
Okay, so did she get a loyalty?
Yeah.
Did she
Yeah.
get a victim that I need this?
Yeah,
Because
she would
they-
get both. Yeah, she would
Okay.
get constant.
And did you repeat this behavior?
In a sense, but I also build up where I know enough is enough, learning from her.
Okay,
Like
so
if you-
why
like if
did
you-
I ask James if he repeated the behavior? Because we know he repeated the behavior.
Yes.
Because we repeat 100% of the behaviors of the parents, even the father that wasn't around. What was I listening for when I asked him, did you repeat the behavior? And did anyone pick up on what he said?
Yes, but
Okay, so what is that saying?
that he knows that he's repeating, but he knows that it's not acceptable to say it, I guess.
Okay, so I want to determine if that's a bad bucket item. The fact that he's defending or that he's learned something different tells me that he sees it as negative. There's an incongruence. I love my mother because he loves his mother. His mother showered him and the grandkids with gifts. But I know there's something here that's not 100% kosher. So we know it's a bad bucket item. We know it's a part of you struggle with. So what did you say? I know when enough is enough. Bullshit. Bullshit. You don't. What you've done is you've put it in your bad bucket in your little shadow shit box with your vests. Okay? And you take it out when I'm not around, when it's convenient, when it matches your shoes, whatever it be. That's how we know, but I'm going to take it a step further because I do believe, and this is just my assessment, that it actually should go in the fuck it bucket. What's the fuck it bucket? And I've told you this with my example of coffee and Diet Coke.
Just some things you accept.
Okay, the fuck it bucket is something that has hid out in the shadow or the bad bucket
You cannot change it.
that you actually are okay with it. You're actually okay with buying fill in the blank for someone. Earlier today, you demonstrated that with me. So really, you don't have an incongruence with that. It works. It's a tactic that we get through life with. Own the fucker. So you put it in the fuck it bucket. And James makes a declaration. I don't have an issue with trying to buy people. Stand up. Stand up. Yeah, physically. And I want, in your own words, I want you to take this unacceptable as you see, not me, I don't judge it, I don't care. Who the hell doesn't buy someone in this world? Everything's a freaking exchange system. We learned this from our parents in La Cuna when they said, you better do this so my needs are met. It's the most logical exchange. So I want you to find your own words because I want you to take this behavior that you deem incongruent and bad, but really on the DL, you find it to be okay, and say it out out loud. Own it.
Buy people stuff, and it makes me feel good, and I really don't care what anybody else has to say about it.
And what do you get in return?
A sense of fulfillment for myself.
Bullshit. What else?
No, really, it does make me happy.
Okay,
when-
but what else?
I guess a gratifying feeling that at that point of exchange, there's an acceptance.
Okay, but you're sugarcoating it.
I don't know what, I don't know what
Why
other
do
way.
you need to buy something for someone? If
It
we
really
live in
makes
a
me
barter
feel bad.
system and you learned at 3 minutes of birth
Mhm.
that your mother's needs were gonna be met and not yours, and all of us are simply trying to get our needs met, what needs are you trying to get met by buying people things? Yes, there might be a good feeling, an altruism with it. Great, but that's not our issue. Your shadow shitbox is there something in there that you need to buy something. What is it? I need you to find that and own it and be honest with it. If not, we don't grow.
I mean, I guess I feel that impulse, if that's what you mean, like that I need to do it for someone.
What do you get in return?
A sense of satisfaction that I did it. Like I don't.
That's internal. What are you trying to get from the other person? Give me an example of when you bought something for someone. Let's not be so abstract.
The last time I bought something for someone was a coffee cup in
Okay.
skulls.
A what?
Like a skull coffee cup.
Okay.
It's one of my for one of my homies, and he's all into skulls and stuff. I saw it unique. I got it for him, and just as a show of appreciation for our friendship.
And nothing happened. Nothing you had to ask for 3 weeks later.
No, but it's
Nothing
see,
from
that's,
Okay.
that's it.
You have
That's
work
what-
to do.
I do. I don't know how to really explain. Like I've always like I get where you're coming from. I've always done it.
When we've
And I've never-
always
and I've really
done
never-
something, you know what it's called?
Mm-hmm.
Ego. Take a seat.
Yes.
You've got work to do. You've got to get more honest with yourself. You're selling the martyr card. You're selling the I'm a good guy card. It doesn't mean you don't have a good guy bucket, but you also have a bad bucket. And you're not comfortable smelling your dog shit. And you need to get comfortable bathing in it. The cave you fear to enter is the one that holds your treasure. Don't keep yourself from your authentic self because you want to keep selling your false self that you're Mr. Nice Guy. I read you that, I think, in a book, and if not, I'll bring it. Yes, do you have a Mr. Nice Guy aspect? Yes, everybody has a good bucket. We don't have problems with the good bucket. Do you ever run out of money or are short on change or have a thought, fuck, this is kind of expensive, but I'm going to do it anyway? That's your shadow. That is your shadow. That's your bad bucket part. Your authentic self would say, homeboy ain't getting a skull cup. I'm going to send him a picture and say, buddy, look what I just saw. It's on sale for $12.99. Help yourself to it when you got the chance, but I just want to let you know it's here. That's the authentic James. The false self will betray itself to make or think that they're making other people happy and that they're going to be liked and approved of. And it's bullshit. It's bullshit. It's a self-serving act so that we can make ourselves feel good. But once you own that you are something like me, I want to have a good body image. Screw the Coke and the coffee. I mean, now I have cancer, so things will change. But I threw it in the fucking bucket. could stop pretending that I was a green juice smoothie queen. Yeah, do I love green juices and smoothies? Yeah. But when I get home, I want that little sound of the Diet Coke, the fizzle. You know, last night my daughter says to me, put it in the fridge so you can have it later. I go, I never finish a can. She's like, I know, because they're all scattered in the sink. I have 2 or 3 sips. It's that first cold sip. And that's it. And now it's in the fucking bucket. And I don't have to pretend that body image is no longer important. When I spent 45 years lying and pretending. So we have to get honest. So when a client tells you the good and the bad of their parents, what they're really telling you is what they think about themselves. This is super, super important. That's why in 5 minutes, you have the whole story. So did you guys do the good and bad buckets yesterday? Okay, give me a few of your good and bad buckets for your mom.
The good is, for me, in my opinion, that's the good.
It's always your opinion, but when you were a child.
Yeah.
Okay, keep that in perspective. It's the child perspective.
She was supportive, loving, strong, and sarcastic.
Okay, I like the sarcastic in the good bucket because that's something you are, and that means you own it. Why is it from the child perspective? Why do I say what was the good and the bad of your parents when you were a child?
0, 0, 7.
Yeah, but
Cheers.
why? Why not from now? Why not at 25 or at 19 or 34?
Because when you have a conflict, you always go back to being a child when you wanted your needs to be met, but you couldn't, I guess.
Yes, that's all true, but why would I not want you to respond to that question of the good and bad bucket in today?
We lie, I guess.
We justify.
There you go.
We justify the behavior. Because now we're older and we know it was hard or whatever, and we're doing the same thing. Children are innocent. Children are more honest. Okay, so sarcastic, strong,
Supportive and loving.
supportive, and loving. And how did you realize that sarcastic was a good quality?
I always thought it was good. I don't know, when people say sarcasm is not good, I always was like, no, it is good. Because it is
Humor.
good. Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Even though it's kind of
It's jabby,
But
but it's okay. Do you see that a sarcasm in her bad bucket creates no problem for her? I mean, in her good bucket creates no problem because it's in her good bucket. But for you, perhaps sarcasm would go in your bad bucket. It would create a problem for you. That's why there are no universal truths related to this, because this is all ego. This is all material plane. It's always subjective and it's always to the individual. That is why in therapy we must listen and we do not impart our crap on the client. If I think sarcasm is bad because my parents were always sarcastic and it bothered me, I will try to change her when she doesn't have an issue with it. Who's the fucking shitty therapist? The client's not the problem there. And I will get sidetracked on trying to change her mind when she doesn't need to, her mind changed about sarcasm. What was in the bad bucket for your mom?
She was overprotective. She yelled a lot. She was paranoid. Yeah, that's it, I think. Yeah.
Okay. So those items are in Aniela's shadow box. All of your clients' bad bucket items become the shadow ship box.
I can see myself with all those things.
You can't?
Yeah, I can, yeah.
You can. However, some of them you may behave normal, but some you may do opposite.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never heard you scream.
No, I do that opposite. I'm the
You
quiet.
just very
Actually,
quiet.
I put that in my child script.
Okay.
I was always very quiet and very concentrated in the things that I wanted to do. I never yelled at anyone.
Okay,
You
so
don't wanna-
that is the 0 to 100.
Yeah.
Okay, so what happens? Let's just recap. All bad bucket becomes the shadow. So it joins all the vests in your shadow box, okay? The shadow shit you don't like about yourself.
We're never gonna forget about the best.
Oh, I'm wearing the vest next week.
Good for you.
Never.
I like your vest.
I like your vest too.
I like your vest. You always dress sharp. You're a sharp dresser. I'm guessing mom or dad had to be a sharp dresser. Dad, okay. Don't like about yourself. Where does this go? Where does all of this shadow shit bucket go?
Into your shadow shit bucket.
Right, this is you.
Oh, okay.
This is your shadow shit bucket. Where does it go or how does it show? How does your bad bucket or your shadow, how does it show up in your life?
Opposite.
By
or
the
same?
contrast, what you're doing the opposite of?
Yes, 0 or 100.
Yeah.
Extreme.
You're gonna do the exact and yell, or you're gonna be the quiet one.
True.
Everyone in my family was quiet. Well, except my dad. I did the exact same as the yelling. But all of my brother, my sister, my parents, they weren't very risk taker, and I went the opposite.
Actually, with her, I do the opposite in all of them.
Not surprising.
Yeah.
Not surprising. So when you discover that the client does the opposite, there you have area to work. They don't have acceptance about this. This is where question number 2 is the biggie. So at the end of the day, does the screaming or staying quiet, is that your mother or your father? Does it really matter all that much?
No.
No. That's to get the person in child mode. That's to get them saying, oh shoot, I'm a kid. But number 2, especially when you're doing the opposite, is super important. And you ask the client when you're doing the steps, we'll get to an example in a second, and you did that on Tuesday. What don't you like about it? And they talk. You do not put words in their mouth. Whatever they say is what their inner child is saying. And what they say is what they don't like about themselves. That's where we can start exploring and discussing healing, because that's where you find the incongruence, that's where you find the shit shadow box, that's where you see that they're doing the opposite, so it becomes a pedestal behavior rather than a shit behavior. So number 2 is extremely, extremely important. So what is it that you do? Pick one.
Yelling. I don't.
You don't yell.
No,
Okay,
when
is
someone-
yelling mother or father?
Mother. Yeah.
Okay.
When someone is fighting, and they're fighting, for example, they're fighting with me, that happened to me a couple of times. Like, some of my friends start like screaming and, this happened, or whatever. I stay quiet, and I reply to them very calmly, but I don't yell, like, I don't know, it's just, I never do it.
What don't you like about the behavior of yelling?
The noise. It bothers me. Because it has fire, and it's just,
The noise bothers her. Where's the real noise that Aniela is bothered by?
side of my head. I know that, yeah.
It's the noise in her head about how she's not enough, how she's behind, how she didn't do it right, how she can't, or whatever. The answer that the client gives about what they don't like about the person, place, thing, or situation, this is amazing, this question. It is always what's inside them. So you simply ask, what don't you like about it? Whatever answer they say is from their inner child. This is the mirroring or the projection with others.
Funny thing is, when I was a kid, I always liked to be in a place where it was silence. But the thing is, something always bothered me. And it was never silent. It was like, it was always me with my thoughts and everything going on. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, and I think when we did the element, you were very air.
Yeah.
And air is that element of thought and thinking and talking and so forth. Okay, so what need do you have to have this constant noise?
That question always tricks me.
I know, it's the one of the hardest
Yeah.
because it's the bridge between child to teen. And when we gain awareness, then we can go into adult and change. That's the hardest question. And most times, I will tell clients that they may stay on the child steps for months, and that's okay. You're just simply watching all behaviors are going to link to this. There's a need that is fulfilled when you can't be quiet, or when your environment is not quiet, or when you have a spastic, crazy teacher that's so loud. There's a need that is fulfilled. What need is fulfilled? What do you have to prove right? Remember the Costco card. This is where we get our Costco card. Was there fighting in your house? Were your parents fighting?
Yeah.
Was someone insulting you?
No, not me, but there were fights. The fights were never about me, that's the thing. It was always them. And that's why it's just, for me, I always looked for silent place, but it was never silent because I always heard the fighting, and inside my head, it was just the thoughts of just be quiet already, you know?
So if you actually found a place of solace and refuge that was actually silent in your home or in your life, what would that say about you as a daughter? Think of the Costco card.
I'm not part of the family.
So even though you don't want to create the noise and the arguments and the fights the way your parents did, somehow you need to replicate that behavior in order for you to belong.
Okay, I got it. Okay.
We must replicate the behavior. So I want you to close your eyes. And I just want you to scan your body slowly and tell me where you feel the noise. What part of your body is activated when there's noise?
My eyes.
Okay. So your sixth chakra. How ironic when you spend all day and night drawing sixth chakra stuff. One of the reasons that it's nice to ask the client, and I do that in step 3, where they feel it, it's because it's going to indicate the chakra that is at play. And remember, we have all this information about the chakras. And the chakra is related, the sixth chakra, to intellect, to seeing beyond the things that we know, but mainly this excessive thoughts. Okay, so it's logical that she would feel it there. Sometimes someone feels it in a third chakra. It doesn't matter. Then you could do some work later on, or you can give them some homework or whatever if you're into crystals and healing and things like that. But I like to ask, where do you feel that? Because it's where you carry sort of that stress. It's where you carry that emotion. And remember, emotions are carried in our cells Emotions are carried in the cells, and what part of the subconscious taught us the emotions that we're gonna carry? In the subconscious development, the 4 stages, where did we create the emotional body that we learn about
Pregnancy.
in pregnancy? The emotional body is created there. And that's where we carry the emotions. Was there a lot of fighting during your pregnancy?
I don't really know, I guess. I never asked her about it.
Can you?
Yeah.
Ask. Just find out.